This is a download from Channel 4. To find out more, go to channel4radio.com.
Previously on Lost.
2 players, 2 sides. One is light, one is dark. Do you want to know a secret? What if everything that happened here happened for a reason?
We can't live together. We're gonna die alone.
I thought I heard whispering.
We're not the only people on this island, and we all know it.
We have only 3 choices. Run, hide, or die.
Do you think we're being punished?
Every 108 minutes, the button must be pushed.
Guys, where are we?
This is UK Lost from Channel 4 Radio. I'm Ian Lee, and we've come down into the hatch once more to give you our reactions to episode 15, the very brilliant maternity leave. We'll be investigating every aspect and analysing each clue so thoroughly that Sherlock Holmes, Hercule Poirot, and even Jessica Fletcher will be proud of us, if they actually existed. I'm joined, as usual, by my panel of Lost experts, and we'll be hearing from Tom again, and his interview this week with Hurley. There'll also be more of your theories and another chance to win that big Lost prize bunker. So come down into the hatch, sit back and get comfy as we bring you UK Lost from Channel 4 Radio. This week I'm joined by Nikki, Paul and Summer. Hello to everybody.
Hello.
Summer, as a new girl, we'll start with you. Who's the best and the worst Lost character?
I think the best Lost character is Sawyer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the question, because you're a girl. Is it because he's, like, really hunky and stuff?
No, well, partly that, but no, he's just a great character. He's just really cool, really bit nasty, and just...
Yeah. And you girls, love nasty men. Who's the worst Lost character?
I think Kate, because she's a bit boring, I think. Yeah. She's not really had much of a role. She's just a pretty face.
Looks like a bloke in this week's episode. Paul, the best and worst?
I think the new character, Henry Gale, at the moment has got my interest.
He's cracking,
very much so. So at the moment, he's my new favourite character. And the worst, because I want to see more of him, because I want to see what he actually did or how he's involved with Claire, was the psychic. We've seen him once, the psychic, you know, with the
psychic?
Yeah,
way back in season 1.
Who remembers him?
I thought, come on, he was the one who actually told her to get on the plane, so I want to see him more in flashbacks.
Forget him, he ain't coming back. Well,
that's my wish.
The thing with Lost is you never know.
This is the thing.
The pilot could turn up next week.
And I think because the baby is, really important in this episode, I'm thinking, oh, come on, so possibly going to
Interesting choice, good work there. And Nikki, finally, the best and the worst Lost character.
I'm going to stay consistent. Saeed, best character. Yeah. If you've listened to the previous episodes, you'll know why.
Yeah.
Worst character, Hurley. Can't stand him.
Oh. Well, we got...
Not funny.
We've got an interview with Hurley later on, so we'll see how he gets on. You're all wrong. The best character's Locke. Everyone knows that.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but then you'd have gone predictable.
Well, no, not predictable. It's true. Then
the
worst character is Charlie. OK, listen, we'll talk about this week's episode, but let's have a quick recap. We've watched episode 15 on a nice big telly, lovely telly. And for those of you that need it, here is a quick recap of what happened. Now, Aaron is what we're settling on, I think, is the baby.
Okay.
Are we? Or is it...
Well...
They say Aaron, don't they?
We'll go for Aaron.
It's pronounced Aaron.
I'm with Aaron.
But they also say Bernard. OK, we'll go with Aaron. Baby Aaron is sick, and although Jack tries to tell Claire there's nothing to worry about, Danielle Rousseau pops up again to contradict this advice.
He's infected, isn't he? What? Your child. He's sick.
Just get away.
You get away from us! You don't remember, do you?
But finally, Claire is beginning to remember those missing 2 weeks. She enlists the help of clinical psychologist Libby, and using a relaxation technique, it all starts coming back. We see Claire, clearly sedated, in a hospital gown being examined and a huge needle being injected into her stomach. We also see that the doctor is none other than Ethan Rom. Claire, shaken by this and what Danielle told her, now knows what she has to do.
Aaron is sick, OK? I need to find that place. That room, it's real. It's real, okay? And there's medicine there. The baby. I need to find it. I need to find it. Kate, Please, help me find it.
Kate agrees, and enlisting Danielle on the way, they go off to find the room. More is now coming back to Claire. She remembers being in a nursery when a man comes to speak to Ethan, and it appears that this man is Mr. Friendly, minus the beard.
What the hell happened? You were supposed to make the list and then bring her in. Was I unclear?
It's not my fault. They knew I wasn't on the plane. They had a manifest.
Well, what am I supposed to tell him? You know what he's gonna do when he finds out. Damn it, Ethan.
And in another flashback to the missing weeks, we see a teenage girl waking up Claire and telling her she has to leave immediately as they're going to cut the baby out and she will die. Eventually, Claire, Danielle and Kate find the hatch, which is now abandoned and empty. Kate stumbles upon some theatrical glue and a fake beard, but there's no medicine for Claire, and Danielle has her own reasons for being disappointed. This doesn't stop her harping back to her favourite topic, though.
I'm sorry that you didn't find what you were looking for. And I hope your baby's not infected. But if it is, I hope you know what must be done.
Elsewhere on the island, Echo guesses that Jack and Locke are hiding a man and demands to speak to him. When he does, he treats Henry Gale like an other and apologises for killing two of his friends. In the final scene, we see Henry Gale trying to manipulate Locke.
I just don't understand why you let the doctor call the shots.
No one calls the shots. Jack and I make decisions together.
Right, okay. My mistake.
This is episode 15, best episode in the series so far, I think, personally.
Best episode.
Yeah. Some of you agree with that?
Yeah, no.
We learn a lot about the island, we learn a lot about the others, and even Drippy Claire is quite good in it, who normally gets on my nerves. One of the things we find out about the others is that they're not always walking around in tattered clothes, because we see Ethan and Mr. Friendly, we think, looking quite smart for a change.
Yeah, that's interesting because we've later on find that, you know, Kate finds the theatrical glue in the beard, but we've already got a sense earlier on in the episode that, you know, what's going on, something's afoot, because we know that guy's voice, we know it's the same guy, but then he's all smart, and he says, what will he say when he finds out? So there's a mention of a possible boss man, some kind of higher person in the chain of command. Very exciting.
We have no idea, do we, who this boss might be. We just know that there's someone higher than him. So far we've assumed the guy with the beard, Mr. Friendly, is the leader, but he ain't.
And he looks pretty frightened very frustrated when Ethan's messed up and, you know, got into the camp, but then been discovered, basically, because Hurley says the manifest, there's someone who wasn't even on the plane. So it's kind of, Ethan was sent in, I guess, as a kind of stealth operation, and it all went a bit wrong. Another
thing that Mr. Friendly has to go to Ethan about is he didn't compile a list. Again, it's back to these making up lists. Did you spot that, or was it just me?
Exactly, no. It's interesting because it almost feels like when he mentions, he says, well, no, they made a list, they made a manifest, and that's how they found out that I wasn't on the plane. And you can sort of see Mr. Friendly being a bit angry and a bit sort of, oh, come on, that was your sole mission was to go in, make the list, and then work out what to do and work out who to get, or, you know, get Claire and the baby. So, all gone a bit wrong.
Nikki, we've always assumed that they're walking around in tattered clothes. This is the first time we've seen them in their civvies, in normal clothes. That's quite a big revelation, isn't it?
What I found interesting was that when she found the tattered clothes in that locker, I love the way that even the theatrical glue was branded with the Dharma Initiative logo.
Why would it be branded Dharma? Everything is Dharma, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's quite some interesting stuff regarding that Dharma logo in that particular hatch as well. I've been reading a bit about it, and it's actually the only logo that we've seen so far that's in colour. And it's in black and red, which is kind of sort of a medic alert type.
It's called the Ouroboros,
reference.
I think. Yeah, medical staff.
Yeah.
Can I say, the one thing I spotted is that when Ethan, right near the start of the first flashback, is opening up the medicine cabinet, he's got a Dharma keyring.
Yeah.
I thought that.
I'm looking on eBay.
Do you think he drives a Dharma car?
Yeah, maybe. I'm looking on eBay for that later on.
When you leave the medical station, you think it's like a Dharma gift shop.
All right, now you're just taking the mickey out of me. Well done. Alex. We see an Alex. Do you think this is Danielle Rousseau's daughter? I guess that's the implication, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was, definitely. And she kind of looked like her as well.
She did. Although she's supposed to be 15, she looked about 26, didn't she?
She did, early 20s maybe.
I didn't quite make that. Why do you think she is helping Claire escape? Because it's her that says, come on, get up, they're going to kill you.
Because she's not as evil as the rest of them.
Yeah.
She's just a good person. She hasn't been around them when they landed.
Well, you would think, Nikki, because she's been with them since she was a baby, since she's been there her whole life, that she would have been indoctrinated by them. You know, almost as if she'd been brought up by dogs. She'd be barking.
Absolutely.
She's you know, doing the same thing with the others, but she's still slightly different.
She's got Danielle Rousseau's blood in her, hasn't she? And we obviously are led to believe this week that Danielle is actually a good woman.
Why do you think they wanted Claire?
Well, I think it's... remember Nikki saying a few weeks ago about the whole baby thing, the purity thing. Maybe they need fresh souls, fresh
souls?
I can say they can have fresh souls and fresh people to indoctrinate them into their little gang. But it's interesting that on the log when Ethan's talking to her and doesn't actually ever say, we're going to off you as soon as, we get the baby, implies that he's going to send her back to camp. I don't know, why would he do that?
Why did he reveal that straight up?
She's all drugged out, she's all tripping. Isn't she?
Does anyone else... She's quite good at being...
her in that.
She's good at being stoned, isn't she?
She's really good. Yeah.
When he
Those Australians.
When he gives her the injection and he goes, "It didn't hurt, did he?" Went, "No." That was really cute, I thought. I quite like that.
I've got a question, though. Ian, I've got a question for you.
Hopefully I can answer it and won't bottle out, yes.
Well, why is it trashed when they go back? It's not that many more weeks after. And it's closed up.
That is the big question.
It's grown over.
Yeah.
Well, they obviously don't want it to be found, do they? They've covered it up with a bit of tarpaulin.
Yeah.
Put some leaves over the top of it. That would stop anyone finding it.
But it's trashed. It looks like a rock star's hotel room.
It's not just a closing down of it, is it?
No.
Is there any idea why they might have trashed
maybe
it?
Something happened after Claire escaped. The boss man got really angry and just trashed the place.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
It's trashed, but it's they could have firebombed it and done a proper job. If you're going to destroy
they left the little boots.
If you're going to destroy, they left them with the boots. Danielle goes on about the sickness again. Talks about this sickness. Why has nobody got it? And why has she not got it? No one has got this sickness at all, have they? It seems like
Henry Gale has the same story, so that's what makes me wonder. I think he's another because I've talked about his crazy faith. But
remind us of his crazy face.
Boggly eyes.
The boggly eyes mean he's inherently evil.
He's inherently evil.
It's a useful thing to remember in life.
But he also talks about this sickness, so it just keeps coming back in, and that makes his story for me more believable.
But we've seen nothing of the sickness. We've seen the quarantine signs. We've seen the vaccine. But we've seen nothing of the sickness apart from the baby that gets a bit of a rash and then it goes a day later.
No, this is a theory that I've heard bantered around. But maybe we have seen signs of the sickness, but we don't actually know those are the signs of the sickness.
Ooh.
As in people have seen people who are apparently dead, visions of people.
Yes.
Maybe that's the beginning of something brewing inside, an infection brewing.
So what's she being injected with? Is it some kind of vaccine, is it?
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, Danielle said back in season 1 that they all went, got infected and went so crazy she had to kill them. So I'm thinking it must be like a psychosis thing that develops. Who knows?
The numbers on the vial are the same as Desmond's numbers, RX1, but Claire's said RX1. This is really geeky. RX1 GND. Ooh. Do we know what that means? I've had a cracking email actually from someone called Barry Rim. Thank you, Barry. Don't laugh at his name. That's not polite, is it? I was talking about one of the theories we mentioned last week, the satellite theory. Ian, to tie with the satellite theory of last week, there have been preliminary tests to use electromagnets to cloak objects. The weird thing is, the last part of the equation is RX1.
Ooh. What does cloaking objects mean? Is that like an invisible cloak, like on Harry Potter?
Well, more like a cloaking device that the Klingons would use in Star Trek, I would imagine.
Now you've gone one too far.
Well, Harry Potter...
Gone into the boy zone.
Well, thanks very much.
I mean that in terms of the boy band.
Yes. Oh, crikey. Well, that's... I could actually see you in court for that. Ethan says to Claire, not enough vaccine for you and the baby. I guess we have to assume that they're running out of vaccine, are they?
Yeah, I suppose so.
when they go back to find it as well, nothing there. It's all gone.
So I wonder where they're getting that from, and is there just a limited supply there?
Are we to assume then that the others are on the island and they have no contact with the outside world at all, or is there a chance that maybe they've got a little bit of contact and someone's
giving them medication?
Yeah. Where are they getting all these branded items from? More theatrical glue. It's going to run out at some point, isn't it?
But I think the supplies thing of the antidote or the vaccine running out, that doesn't seem to fly to me, because there's a lot of them and they're taking on new people on board like the baby. Yeah,
they're recruiting.
Very suspicious.
There's no quarantine warning on the medical hatch doors like there are at the Swan and...
Very true.
Is that true? Is that significant?
It could be.
Anyway, listen, we'll talk more about the episode in a minute. It's competition time. 3 people will win Lost goodie bags. One of those will go into the draw to win the big bunker of exclusive Lost prizes, some of which are signed by the cast and co-creator of Lost, Damon Lindelof. The question this week is, who looks after baby Aaron when Claire and Kate go looking for the medical bunker? Is it Anna Lucia? Is it Sun? Son. Or is it Hurley? It's not Clue, I'm just because I love her. If you know the answer, call 09011 111 080. Leave your answer, your name and your telephone number. Calls cost 25 pence a minute. Or you can text the word lost, then your answer to 83188. Each text will cost you 25 pence. OK, the bunker, the medical bunker. We mentioned this briefly. The others leave it. Why do you think they've left it? And they take pretty much everything, don't they? So where's all the nursery stuff gone?
And there were loads of people in that operating theatre when...
There's about 5.
Yeah. So where have they all gone?
Rousseau's daughter, Alex.
Rousseau's daughter, Alex.
Yeah.
To another hatch, probably.
So how many hatches have we seen so far? This is the third?
Third.
We saw... You're right, Nikki. We saw 4 or 5 people in the operating theatre. But to clear everything out... It's weird, isn't it? They've cleared nearly everything out, but then they leave stuff like the fake beard and the glue, which seems... almost as if they want them to find this.
And who are they disguising themselves from? Why do they need to wear disguises?
This episode is brilliant. It answers a lot of questions, but the great thing that Lost does is it asks a load more questions that we're never going to find out. The door off the corridor is marked escape hatch.
OK. Well, it's a big hatch as well. There's a lot of corridors and a lot of nooks and crannies and cubby holes. And it's I like the idea that they left in a panic. You know, it was only 5 weeks ago in lost time since that Claire was abducted. So if the big boss man or somebody got angry with them and said, clear out, go, but then... doesn't quite explain... Yeah, there's a huge intrigue as to why they had to leg it and take everything.
We mentioned briefly that the outlines of the creatures are still there on the wall in the nursery. And I was saying, well, maybe they've not been there... Maybe they've been there for years. Maybe that nursery has been set up...
For Alex.
Well, yeah...
For Alex, 15 years ago.
But the interesting thing is that with the cot, you have the aeroplanes... which are Oceanic Airline. I mean, now, come on.
Wicked, that's cruel.
But that's a huge connection between the plane that crashes on the island in a strange way and the planes are actually going around the nursery thing, so that's got to be huge, surely.
Yeah.
Can I give you a partial geek fact?
Please do.
It's only partial because I can't remember the name of the song, but apparently when that mobile's turned on, that's actually the song that Claire asked the adoptive parents in the episode in season 1 to sing to her child.
I've got a slight shiver down my neck.
Because that was what Claire's father used to sing to her when she was a little girl.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
Got to say, for an American TV series, the cut-up, you know, the quick montage...
Yeah.
They were brilliant, weren't they? I had shivers down my spine when that was going on.
That's what I love about Lost, when it gets the kind of horror edge back, because a lot of season 1 was really scary and kind of, creepy, and this is a really creepy episode. Awesome.
OK. I've got a geeky fact for you. I can out-geek you a little bit. Not quite as much, actually. In the examination room, there is an acoustic imaging 5200 ultrasound scanner. Wasn't marketed until 1992.
Blimey. So maybe they are getting new stuff coming in.
It's one of those things. Is it an error on the part of the props department, slapped wrists if it is, or are they getting stuff shipped in from elsewhere?
Or if it's 92, that's just before when they would have found Alex as baby, like 14 years ago, so, maybe they got it in special.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she's still turned out good. They must be gutted.
How reliable are Claire's flashbacks, do you think, Summer? Because she is off her mash in most of those things, isn't she? She's all over the place, giggling. Can we believe what she's telling people?
I do. I thought it was all real, and she had remembered it with the clinical psychologist. She'd helped her get through it, and, I believed that it all had happened.
The times that I have been sedated for medical reasons... I've had great trouble remembering any of it, remembering any flow, any facts, any faces. She's got quite good recall, hasn't she?
But that's interesting, because if it is, I'd forgotten actually, if it's from Claire's point of view, so all the stuff where Ethan's being very charming on the log and going, oh, you'll be fine, we'll take you back to your camp. That's her perception of it. So maybe we might see in the future like another take on that or something. He might have been really evil and she's just drugged out and she's seeing him being a charming gentleman, so...
Any ideas why Ethan is being so friendly to her, if indeed he is?
He's just being a con man, really, isn't he? He's trying to sell her this idea
It's another long con.
I thought they liked her.
Go on, someone.
I thought that, he genuinely cared about her, and he took her out for a walk and, apologised that he hadn't done earlier, and I think he was trying to protect her from everyone else, as well as take her baby from her.
Not buying it.
You put in the face, Nicky. I agree with some of that. I think he's fallen in love with her. Legitimately, really? Yeah. I think he's properly fallen in love, because there seems to be a certain genuine amount of remorse on his part. And he's saying, you know, if you don't want to get rid of the baby, you keep the baby. I'm sorry, we've got to... I'm going to miss you.
Very gullible in this.
Yeah, but he did say, Charlie's fine. I let him go back to the camp, and he's hanging back in the forest.
But his face, though, he looked, you know, he looked bad for lying.
He looks like Tom Cruise is what he looks like, and there's a reason for that.
Ethan Rom looks like Tom Cruise?
He is related to Tom Cruise. I think he's his cousin, but Paul thinks it's his
cousin
brother.
or brother. I can't remember which one.
Is this the actor that plays him or the character?
The character.
Wow. A brilliant episode in that you kind of forget they've got Henry Gale locked up. A little bits of that, but he's almost ignored, which is superb. But Jack and Locke keeping him a secret. Why are they doing that?
Well, I think it's what we talked about the other week about how Jack and Locke... There's a bit of a power struggle going on about how they're actually running events on the island and in the hatch, and I think that they are trying to be cautious because they don't want to panic everybody. There's a new stranger in the midst.
Is that really the reason?
Well, I think so, because, you know, they can remember what happened when Ethan was revealed to be a stranger. You know, there was catastrophe and death, or almost death and stuff, when he died. So I think they are on the air of caution.
I think they're both slightly ashamed of themselves, though. They both had, like, little guilt trips about keeping him there, and I think maybe they don't want everyone to know that they've done that unless they're sure that he is actually the enemy.
What is brilliant is when, we'll call him Henry Gale, just starts the mind games with Locke, and he says, well, you know, which one of you out of Dostoevsky, are you the genius or are you following? You know, it's just superb, isn't it?
It's brilliant. And I think that, I say that's why Locke is such a great character, because you watch his reaction to it and you think, oh, that's got a lot of tick in his brain, and he starts to do the washing up, and as you say, he just completely
He just goes mental.
It's fantastic.
He smashes all the plates up. But why do you think that Henry Gale is doing that? Why is he spreading seeds of doubt so that he can get out, or is he trying to befriend Locke, or does he genuinely believe that Locke is being taken advantage of?
It's referenced a couple of times that he's got extremely good hearing, which I'm very intrigued by, you know, through that sealed door, and he shouts out to them, you could always let me go. And then Locke says later on in the episode, you heard that conversation. He says, you must have keen ears, and he sort of says, yeah.
You've got thin doors, though. I kind of believe that.
Thin doors? It's a big iron armoury door.
I don't think it is that thing. It's wooden, isn't it?
But you've seen that scene where there's like about an inch under the door and you can see the light going through when Said's beating him up.
I'm with you. I'm completely, almost like 80% completely not trusting Henry Gale now. I was a bit uncertain the other week, but I'm...
As soon as he starts having a go at Locke, that's when I was like...
Let's put our cards on the table. I think he's another. What do you think?
Yes. Now this week,
Nikki?
definitely.
Yes.
Summer?
Yeah, definitely.
I think he is. I've lost... You know, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, but I've lost all... you know, trust in the man. An odd scene with Echo and Henry Gale. Why is he confessing to him, do you think?
Just because he is so devout, he wants to be this religious man, and I think it has eaten him up. He didn't talk for weeks or days after he killed those two men, so I think that he just needed to get it off his chest and apologise.
Nikki, do you think he's apologising to him because he believes he's an other, or because it's a stranger?
Because he believes he's another. I don't get the bit about the beard.
Yeah, that's obviously...
Is that some sort of sacrificial...
I thought the fact that, you know, he grew sort of two little mini beard dreadlock things.
One for each man?
I don't know what you call them. Yeah, exactly, one for each man. So he slices them both off and gives back to... I think it is a confession to get off his chest, but I also think that Echo's much more multi-level than that, multi-dimensional than that, and I think that he's actually threatening him in a really subtle way. I think he's saying, you know, these two men I killed with my bare hands, I regret doing that, but if you are actually one of these people, you know, you're getting that 6'6" of me, same wide, I'm pretty imposing, and Henry does look really intimidated by it, which is great stuff.
And he also says something about, I want you to give someone a message, and I wonder who he's referring to. Like, is it this man that everyone's referring to as the person running the show, or does Echo know something that the others don't, the other survivors don't know?
OK, excellent stuff. Coming up, we've got your Lost theories, Geeky Tom's interview with Hurley, a small preview of next week's episode. And, Nikki, we've not had an update from the Lost experience yet, so I think we'll have that in a moment.
Certainly.
Since the dawn of time, man has been curious, imagining all that is possible. The Hanzo Foundation, reaching out to a better tomorrow. Discover the experience for yourself. Go to thehanzofoundation.org.
You're listening to UK Lost from Channel 4 Radio. I'm Iain Lee, down the hatch with Paul, Nick and Summer. And bravely, we're now giving you a chance to have your say as we take a look at the different theories you've been emailing in. We'll be giving each one a mark out of 10, so you'd be advised not to address them to Tom and Co, as someone did last week. Didn't mention me, any of us at all, Tom got a mention. OK, theory 1, the two poles theory by Guru62. Hey, you guys! My theory is that there are magnetic poles on the island and they are reversed. The Hanzo Foundation discovered the island and its geologically unique properties. Dharma knew that a magnet's south pole always attracts to the other magnet's north pole and installed the magnet as a power source. I'm lost. It was discovered that after 108 minutes, the magnet becomes very powerful and begins pulling everything into it. This was the incident. Because of its alignment with the Earth's poles, eventually the magnet's strength would continue to grow and, in fact, suck the whole world into it. This is possibly why the plane crashed. By entering the numbers, you can discharge it. As my Year 12 science textbook says, when two magnets are attracted to each other, a small magnetic field forms around them. If they are strong enough, a large magnetosphere may form, which is what happened on the island. The others were scientists, but because of this, now they can't escape. Please don't be harsh on my theory. Nikki, you were wetting yourself laughing there.
Not much of a scientist myself, but I do wonder if you're using natural forces such as the North and the South Pole, why are they rigged into this 108-minute hoopla?
What he's saying is you don't press the button to release the charge, the magnetic pull is going to be so strong that everything is going to implode.
Well, maybe
you're not
that's what
buying
happened to the plane, but I'm not sure about the whole world being drawn into
You're not buying it.
I'm not.
You're not having any of that?
No.
It's interesting that he's saying that the incident is the button not being pressed and something happening.
It is interesting, but very, I don't know, I know Lost is a bit unrealistic, but that's just a bit too...
Sorry, what? Lost is a bit... I thought it was a documentary. Paul, the girls aren't having it. Maybe the magnets is boys' stuff. What do you think?
I think it's good stuff. I think that the,
I think it's a cracking theory,
we've seen lots of traits of this powerful magnet, you know, keys floating from round Jack's neck towards the Chernobyl-esque concrete wall and the ominous humming, and I think that I think he's got a pretty sound basis of a theory there. I think it's good stuff.
OK, listen, we've got two more. We'll give them marks out of 10 at the end. Interesting, though. Theory 2, the Hanso theory by Dan. Hey, UK Lost. Here's my theory. The Hanso Foundation has been on the island for a long time, carrying out tests, including the Life Extension Project and testing psychic abilities. They were being funded by the US government, but after doubts crept in, the military were sent to investigate and decided the tests had to stop. However, Hanso wasn't happy about this and overpowered the military in a battle. The remaining military went into hiding on the other side of the island. The hatch was where the Life Extension Project was carried out, but the military never found it. Desmond was the lab rat being tested on. He ran back to Hanso on the other side of the island, once found by Jack and co, and the computer is now there to distract them from making efforts to overpower Hanso. Lastly, Hanso wants kids to restart their Life Extension Project again. They are interested in Walt because he also has the psychic abilities which they had been investigating. The end. I'm pretty sure this is worthy of at least an 8. Great show, guys, but bring back Tom. Well, that's a slur on all of us here in this room today.
Sorry, but that's 2 points off already.
All right, Summer, we'll start with you. Life extension, psychic abilities...
I don't know. Interesting.
It's cracking.
Do you, Nikki?
Yeah.
It's a bit better than the magnet one, but I'm still not buying it.
Paul?
I like the idea that there's been... I like the word battle. I mean, you know, that's great. If there was some battle between Hanso and government, and maybe we might see a trait of that in a future episode, that'd be awesome. I think there's some good stuff there. The fact that they're stranded and they're almost like if the government are trying to find them, maybe they've managed to use magnets to kind of cloak themselves away from the government.
That's what the fake beards are for.
So the government don't recognise them. But I think that's the biggest load of rubbish I've heard in a long time. We've got one more, then we'll give the marks out of 10. Theory 3 is the subhuman theory by Six Eyes. The big question is not what's going on with the island. There are millions of islands in the world, and I'm sure loads have gangs like the others and weird hatches. If there's strange testing to be done, it won't be carried out at Piccadilly Circus. One of the many remote islands will be picked. So the big question is, why did the plane crash there? It can't be an accident, this would be a boring storyline. And it can't be random who survived. Everyone has been handpicked and their survival ensured by an advanced technology not yet in the public domain, like a secret injection that makes you temporarily invincible. If you don't think this kind of thing exists, you are naive, Nikki.
Oh.
I think the survivors were chosen before conception. Their mothers were impregnated by another kind of life form and they've been followed since birth. Now they've been brought together so it can be observed how these subhumans interact. Feel free to ridicule this, but I know I'm right.
I like that one.
Oh.
I like the idea that testing does go on in islands and remote places.
We're in for so many more flashbacks if they've been followed since birth.
I do now. I kind of like the thing that they've been followed for a long time.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
But they've been fathered by aliens, and it's nonsense, isn't it? All right. Well, listen. Let's give the marks out of 10. Let's start with the two poles theory by Guru62. This is the magnets. If you don't press the button, there's a big magnetic pull. Nikki, what do you think? Marks out of 10.
8 from me.
An 8.
8.
Okay, you were dissing it, but you're going to give it an 8.
I didn't diss it. Did I?
Yeah.
That's a 4 then.
So what do you think? This
5.
is 5.
5.
It's an 8.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
I'm giving it a 9.
Good.
It averages out at about a 7. By the way, people have been emailing saying, "Oh, you don't do the right average." Well, do you know what I mean? Tough. I'm doing it. I've got the pen. I'm writing them down. It's a 7. Okay, theory 2, the Hanso theory by Dan. Life extension, government, battles.
I'm going for a 9.
I think I'll give it a 7. I liked traits in there.
Okay. What do you
6.
think? 6. I'm going to give it a 6 as well, so I guess that kind of averages out an 8. And the absolutely rubbish theory, the subhuman theory by Six Eyes, subhumans, aliens, it can't be an accident,
I'm going to give it a 9.
Oh, what? Nikki?
It's a 2.5 for me.
I want to give it a 5 because, it sounds quite high, but I quite like the idea of there being creatures of some descent in Lost at some points.
I'm giving it a 0. I think the average, that brings it down to about a 5. We'll give that a 5, so not very good. Now, as you may be aware, my super brain computer theory... I'll explain this to you. You may have missed this before. My theory is that Walt is connected to a super brain computer, and his evil twin, because, yes, I bet he has one, is also connected to a super brain computer on a different side of the island, and they're having battles, and they're controlling stuff. I'm going to adopt into my theory the magnets. I think that the magnets are very important, and if you don't press the button, something magnetic happens. Don't know how that connects to the computer yet. Give me a week to think on that. But, if you want to see the top 5 best theories and the bottom 5 worst theories, you can by going to channel4radio.com/forum. You can also send your theories and any comments you want. You can email them to uklost@channel4.com. uklost@channel4.com. This is UK Lost from Channel 4 Radio. I'm Iain Lee, and for some strange reason, Geeky Tom now appears to have his own fans, as the dozens of emails would back up. I can't think of any reason why this may be, but I'm still refusing to let him come back down into our hatch. Instead, though, with the permission of his mum, I've been sending him on top secret missions, and this week we get to hear him interviewing Jorge Garcia, a.k.a. Hurley. Tom, it's over to you, sir.
Hi, it's Tom here. I'm here with Jorge Garcia, a.k.a. Hurley, and I'm going to ask him a few questions about Lost. Is it true that you originally auditioned for the part of Sawyer?
Well, I read the part of Sawyer, but I wasn't really up for the part of Sawyer. It was more just to give him a taste of the kind of actor he was, because nothing was written for Hurley at the time. So,
would you have wanted that part, or?
Well, he's had a pretty interesting ride on the show. That probably would have been the other part to play aside from Hurley if I was going to choose one.
Did you have any input in the part, Hurley's part?
Not directly. I think it's just kind of them getting to know me, and they started writing towards, the kind of guy that I was. I guess just the kind of input they get is that when they give me a script and I deliver stuff they like, it might inspire them to write more towards that side.
Does he get a bit darker? Because a lot of characters are, we're seeing a lot of a darker side to them.
Yeah, I think there's still darkness to come, so we'll see.
I've heard that you're in a band with Matthew Fox.
I've never heard of this band until I came out to Europe to do this press tour. I started finding out about this band that I sing in with Matthew Fox. Maybe the myth will then later become reality. Maybe that'll inspire us to create the, Lost Souls or something, yeah.
There's a lot of mad Lost fans out there. Do you get a lot of, you must kind of be on the brunt of the mad kind of, unwanted female attention, that kind of thing, crazy people shouting out at you?
Sure, it's just kind of cool to have fans that are that passionate about your show. Hurley tends to be liked pretty much across the board by everybody, and so that always feels good, A lot of strangers want hugs, usually.
Do you and the other cast members kind of sit around discussing theories maybe you've seen on the internet, or maybe ideas that you think the plot should go?
Not anymore. I mean, we did at one point, like at the start of the show, when we were like, what is going on? But now it's not as much that. We just kind of let the show unravel as it comes along. I'm pretty much probably the one who keeps the closest eye as to what's going on and what they're talking about on the internet.
So what would you like to happen to Hurley next, maybe?
Well, there's the start of showing a little bit of a romantic side to Hurley and a little bit of relationship. That was definitely something that I wouldn't mind visiting and revisiting. That's always cool, and it's also not something that a guy like me usually gets to do on TV. And I was just thinking that it seems like almost everyone's gotten a chance to hold a gun at some point on the show, except for me. I mean, sure, Hurley's a lover, not a fighter, but maybe at one point he pulls the gun out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for that, Tom. And he will be interviewing Jin next week, which is very, very exciting. Now, Nikki, you are following very closely for us the Lost Experience. Tell us where we're up to now.
Okay, so the Lost Experience seemed to start just before the US finished Series 2.
Because the US have finished the series now.
They've finished it now,
About 3 or 4 months ago.
And we started to see the Hanzo Foundation website go up. And it looked like a legitimate website, and all of a sudden we saw some sort of hacker going in and claiming that a lot of what was on their website was lies. So it was this hacker called Persephone. We didn't know who it was. And then straight after that, this woman called Rachel Blake emerges, and she's gone to Copenhagen, which is the home of the Hanzo Foundation. And she's tracking down the Hanzo Foundation guys because the head of the Hanzo Foundation, Alvar Hanzo, he doesn't seem to be around. He hasn't been seen in public for years. And the CEO, Thomas Werner Mittelwerk, has been causing loads of trouble. So off she goes. We've been following her around. She's gone through 4 different European cities now. She's now in Paris. And throughout her quest, she's had this informant called Gidget Girl, giving her little bits and pieces of information and helping her quest. And where we got to, as we left off last week, was Gidget Girl contacted her and said, "Listen, Rachel, I've got some information for you. You're going to have to come and meet me in Paris." So off Rachel skips to Paris, and she goes to meet this Gidget Girl in a park, and she puts on her glasses cam. And you see her sort of crying a lot after that because Gidget Girl never turned up. And then she looks in the paper and she sees a picture of Hugh McIntyre, who's the communications director of the Hanzo Foundation, and his mistress Darla, and they've actually been killed in a car crash. And Rachel confesses that she sort of knew that Gidget Girl was Darla all along.
Okay, lovely.
So she was the mistress of this director of communications at the Hanzo Foundation, and she doesn't think that it was an accident at all. She thinks they've been murdered. She's in a hotel room, and all of a sudden she's shouting out, "Someone's shooting at me!" And sure enough, someone is shooting at her, and it turns out to be this security guard who she's seen with Thomas Werner Mittelwerk, and so she assumes that he's coming to get her. But it turns out that he's come to help her.
All right, by shooting at her?
Not by shooting at her, shooting the door in. I don't know why he didn't knock. But, you know, these security guys, they go to quite big measures sometimes. So he tells her that he knows about Hugh and his mistress, and that he wants to help Rachel, and he gives her the key to their secret love nest flat in Paris. And so she goes on a stealth mission at night, of course, because you never go during the day, even if they are dead. And there's a video there from Darla. It's one of those videos where it's like, if you're watching this, I'm already dead.
Oh!
And so in this video, Darla, who was Gidget Girl, she reveals that there's all sorts of dodgy stuff going on in Sri Lanka. And she leaves Rachel a package with a plane ticket to Sri Lanka and a fake ID and a map of Sri Lanka and all this sort of stuff. And Rachel just says, right, that's it, I've got to go to Sri Lanka. But then, so some sort of time passes. And then on Saturday, there's Comic-Con in San Diego. Paul, you might be able to sort of fill the listeners in a bit on what Comic-Con is.
The Comic-Con's like one of the biggest, most popular comic conventions in San Diego, and it happens every year, and it's kind of...
This is a real thing that happens?
It's a huge genre event, and comics being the main thrust of it, but you get a lot of genre TV shows, actors turning up like Lost and doing presentations, and fans come walk around, there's signings and stuff like that. So she was there.
Yeah,
she turned up at that.
She turned up there. Damon Lindelof, Carlton Cuse, all of the executive producers, some of the actors were there. And out from the crowd she emerges and she starts shouting, "It's all real, it's all real."
Oh, right, okay.
Has time to actually expose what's on her T-shirt.
What?
Which is another URL. And catch this, it's hanzoexposed.com.
Hanzoexposed.com, yes.
She gets dragged off by security. And so now if you go to that site, you'll see that she's taken a video in Sri Lanka, but it's not safe for her to upload it all in one place, so she's scattered it across the web in about 70 different pieces.
7-0.
7-0, and these are slowly being revealed. And if you sort of register on there, you can slowly get all these pieces and start to piece the video together and put it in the order that you
How are we supposed to find these pieces?
they're going to be all over the place. I think it's probably worth watching some of the people who've been involved in the game so far. So there's the Channel 4 blog, of course.
Right.
So if you watch the Channel 4 blog, you should get commentary as to where these pieces are being found, and that's at channel4.com/lost. So
I think we could have an exclusive clue.
I've been told this. Tom called me. He was absolutely excited, and he couldn't figure out what was going on when he was interviewing Damon Lindelof.
You've given Tom your phone number?
Yeah. When he was interviewing Damon, some sort of call came in, and Damon seemed really puzzled, but that he recorded it anyway.
And we're allowed to listen to it, are we?
Apparently so.
Well,
have you got it?
I think we have. Let's have a listen. This is Tom was interviewing Damon Lindelof, and a phone call happened, and Tom, being quite a good investigative journalist, kept his tape recorder running. This is what happened.
Hello? Who is this? Where'd you get my number? What does IG3X mean? What is IG3X, and how does that relate to Alvar Hanso?
Well, that's very intriguing, isn't it? To my untrained ears, that sounds like a code.
Sounds like one to me, and they seem to be sort of all these random numbers and letters anyway, so
it's worth keeping...
I'd plug that into hansoexposed.com.
OK, we'll write that down. Paul, you might be able to help us with a bit more codage.
Well, yeah, this is interesting, because I didn't know this. Didn't know this was going to happen today. We were given something over...
I must say, by the way, you're from Lost Magazine, in case people are wondering what you're banging on about. The editor of Lost Magazine.
We were sent something on a secure email that we don't know where it came from, which was a code, which was instructed to basically make it part of the Lost yearbook, which is out in a couple of weeks. So I think definitely check out in a cheeky kind of plug way, but the yearbook does have code in it.
So you're going to print it?
Well, we've had to. It seemed quite urgent, so we thought, well, if we do print it, if we don't print it, maybe there'll be consequences.
Okay.
So, you know.
This is all getting very mysterious, isn't it? Anyway, listen, thank you very much for that. Well, keep us posted on the entire Lost experience, Nikki. It's competition time, though. 3 people will win Lost goodie bags. One of those will go into the draw to win the big bunker of exclusive Lost prizes, some of which are signed by the cast and co-creator of Lost, Damon Lindelof, who we just heard. The question is, who looks after baby Aaron when Claire and Kate go looking for the medical bunker? Is it A, Anna Lucia, B, Son, or is it C, Hurley? Call 09011 111 080. Leave your answer, your name and your telephone number. Calls cost 25 pence a minute. Or you can text the word Lost, followed by your answer, to 83188. Each text will cost you 25 pence. Now, if you're listening right at this moment and thinking, wow, that hatch sounds fun, those guys are crazy. I know loads about Lost. I'd like to be there too. Well, all you have to do is email us at uklost@channel4.com with a little bit about yourself, and you could be sitting here next week getting your big white teeth into episode 16. Speaking of episode 6, or you may have manky yellow teeth, I don't know. Speaking of episode 16, it's time for a sneaky preview of next week's episode. And in the clip I'm about to play, Locke is talking to Anna Lucia about Henry Gale.
I'd like you to talk with him. You have experience with the others. You were a cop. Seems to me you're the most qualified to figure out if this man's telling the truth.
Does Jack know you're coming to me with this?
We got a serious problem, Anna Lucia. And all of us. I'm taking the necessary steps to solve it. I don't need Jack's permission to talk with you because right now there's a man sitting in a room in my hatch. And I want him out.
Well, you can find out if Anna does the good cop or the bad cop routine on Henry Gale, Tuesday at 10 on Channel 4, or on E4 at 11 if you're a week ahead. We'll be back next week, giving this episode a thorough going over, and also hearing how Tom got on when he met up with Jin. There'll be another chance to win exciting Lost prizes, and if you have a brilliant Lost theory, don't forget to send it in, as we'll be casting our very critical eyes over those again. Thanks to my panellists, Nikki, Paul and Summer. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
I'm Iain Lee, and remember, the button is bad.
You've been listening to a download from Channel 4. To find more downloads like this, go to channel4radio.com.